I saw cocaine quite early on in my career. I've been served it, I've been given it, I've had my hand shaken, I'm left with little wraps of foil. I've been asked to dust cocaine on top of soufflés to put it on as ice and sugar.
Shit.
Coke's everywhere. It's spiraling out of control. I knew it was going to be intense, but not quite like this. When you look at the numbers of what comes into this country.
That's 70 grand each.
Year on year, death after death. That's the devastation, I think. And yet, no one wants to talk about it, but they all want to f***ing snort it.
Cocaine. Once the exclusive drug of millionaires and celebrities, now Britain's favourite Class A drug. Commonplace in every town and city across the UK.
Anyone who thinks that the use of cocaine is in any way victimless is living an absolute lie.
Britain consumes 30 tonnes of the drug every year, more than any other country in Europe.
And the value of this, I mean, this is a kilo.
So about 100 grand.
But behind cocaine's glamorous image lies the criminality, cruelty and death toll of the illegal drugs trade.
We see extraordinary levels of violence, gang crime, shootings and stabbings, all of which are linked to the cocaine trade.
Over 140,000 drug-related offences were committed last year, costing Britain
I've got him.
over £10 billion.
People are making a lot of money out of it, but to make that money, people are generating a lot of misery.
It's about to kick off in there, and he's angry.
I'm joining forces with police and military here and abroad who are battling to stop this drug. It's a journey which will take me from testing the bathrooms of my own restaurants,
Staff toilets. It is everywhere.
to the British streets where coke is being bought and sold every day. And I'm going back to the source, deep in the jungles of South America.
Don't stop here. Save.
With soaring cocaine deaths in Britain and along the coke supply chain, I'm determined to understand the criminal business behind this deadly drug.
You and your organisation, how many people do you think you've murdered?
Un promedio, póngale como unos 80, 110.
Literally. Time to go.
Cocaine-related deaths are reaching epidemic proportions.
One burrata, main course, one brie, 3 chop, 1 allergy juice.
Morning. We good? Is that cold enough? I'd never touched a line of cocaine in my life. I was anti-drugs from a very early age, having to watch my brother his life up. It's gone from coke to heroin. And so I just worked my ass to get out of the shit mess that I grew up with. I went to a dealer's house once and I had to take my little brother into this shithole of a flat for a fix to get him to my father's funeral. That was grim. And that was the big shock for me to see how far he had gone.
Ask any chef or waiter. Cocaine use has long been the industry's dirty little secret. But for me, the issue is very personal. In 2003, David Dempsey, one of my best mates and head chef of my flagship restaurant, died as a direct result of taking cocaine.
I lost a good chef, an amazing chef. We had 2 kids, Megan and Jack. I never thought in my wildest dreams that David, my head chef, was on cocaine. We had dinner that night. He died. He just seemed agitated. He was, constantly restless. Kept on disappearing to the toilet, every 20 minutes. I went back home and he went back to Chelsea. He went to a dealer's house that gave him some shit cocaine, and it f***ed him over.
David died after falling 40 feet from a block of flats. At the inquest, it was described as an act of excited delirium fueled by cocaine.
I kicked myself for not doing more and recognising it earlier.
I'm giving David's son Jack a shift in the restaurant his dad helped make famous. He's determined to be an award-winning chef, just like his father.
Can we get some more personal, please? Spices?
It's amazing for me to have you here as well,
No. But thank you for giving me the opportunity.
He ran this place.
Yeah.
He ran it.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. You know, he never wore a hat, but he ran it.
I'm determined that neither Jack nor any of my staff fall victim to drugs, as David did. So I want to find out if cocaine is still being taken under my roof.
Ladies, hello.
I've decided to do a series of spot checks in the bathrooms of my restaurants.
Hi, guys. I just need to be here for 2 minutes, please. Thank you. Okay. You can close up the locker, and I'll see you in a minute. Good man. Oh, how are you?
Good, chef.
Good man. Wash your hands. Finish the business.
I was.
You on a break?
No, chef. Just using the loo.
Right. You don't flush it? What was he doing in that toilet? Middle of service, the busiest time. Let's hope this is not bad news.
I'm testing the toilets with a special wipe, which turns blue if cocaine is present.
And that's blue. That's inside my own staff toilet, so that's not good news.
Roughly 50 staff use those loos, but what about the customer ones?
That blue speck there is a positive test. Cocaine has been used today in my own restaurants. And this is on a day that they shouldn't be doing coke. It's Sunday.
Across my London restaurants, I've had 5 staff and 12 customer loos tested, and I'm about to give the results to my senior management team.
Downstairs, the staff toilets, positive or negative?
Well, you would hope.
The light's being negative.
Yeah.
Staff toilets, positive. Women's, positive. Positive. Customer toilets, positive, positive. Look how blue that one is. Staff toilets, positive. Positive. I mean, it is everywhere. Look at the colour of that.
That's the shocking one. Yeah.
That looks like it's been doused in cocaine. Is that blue?
Yeah.
It's like a J-cloth, is that blue? I knew it was in somewhere, but I didn't know it was in this big.
I'm shocked by that, I have to say.
It's a wake-up call. Right now, I'm obviously concerned about the staff. Why are we ignoring it? Why are we turning a blind eye? And, you know, those samples, those swabs, I mean, some of them are bright blue, and that's in my own business. That's my responsibility.
But it's not just my business. I've also tested other top-end restaurants, bars and pubs. I'm genuinely shocked by how many have tested positive. More alarming still, it seems that many Brits are even using coke on our roads. But with hundreds of serious accidents every year linked to drug driving, police across the country are beginning to crack down.
So tonight I'm heading down to the south coast to hit Bournemouth, and the police are launching a campaign to find out how many drivers are using cocaine. I want to see how widespread the problem is, and I've asked if I can join them.
Since police introduced roadside drug kits nationwide, arrests have gone up a massive 800%.
We've had a road death already this week where one of the people involved tested positive for cocaine. We've got marked, unmarked cars out. You've been issued with drug wipes. If someone is suspected of being under the influence of drink or drugs, you have a power to take that test.
Hello, how are you?
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
So, likewise, good to see you too. Thank you. But there's a car in front of us, 20 metres in front. What are you looking for? Is it erratic driving? Is it late
if there's
braking?
poor lane control, late braking, any telltale signs.
Right.
Today, I'm accompanying PC Dave Cottrell, who is single-handedly responsible for 25% of drug driving arrests in Dorset.
Let's have a look at his car in front, all right?
And in no time, he spotted a suspicious vehicle.
What's the speed limit here? 20 miles an hour?
Kid in the back, eh?
Kid in the back, yeah. He's in a rush. Also, he's driving he's somewhat agitated. You gonna pull him over?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Is it your car, is it?
No, it's my landlady's.
Are you insured?
Fuck me, you look like Gordon Ramsay. Are you?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Are you insured and everything?
No.
You're not insured?
No.
Have you got a driving licence?
Provisional.
Provisional. So why are you driving?
I had to quickly go and pick up my children.
Right, do you want to come take a seat in my car? We'll try and sort things out.
Are you Gordon Ramsay?
Yes.
Hell Kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, you guys gonna go? You gonna jump in the house?
Where are the kids going, dude? Not doing it. Do you say you got a provisional driving licence, have you?
Yeah. I got banned as well.
You're banned?
Yeah.
Any drugs at all recently?
No.
Okay, I don't know if you're aware, but we can test the cocaine and cannabis at the roadside, all right?
Yeah. Or maybe a spliff last week.
Last week.
Maybe.
Okay, all I need to do is throw your tongue around your mouth for me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
What's made you get involved in this initiative then?
Cocaine.
Yeah? What, you recovering?
No. No.
What, you trying to get some?
No.
What then?
Just lost a dear friend on it.
Oh, sorry, man.
Was that your son in the car?
Both of them.
Both.
Don't, I know, mate.
Right, chat, there's no in time. You're under arrest, all right? Jump out for me.
Sorry to meet you in circumstances like this, bro. I actually quite admire you and the things you do.
Okay, right. Put yourself back in there for us, all right? Swing your legs back in. Obviously, we know that he's disqualified from driving. He's admitted no insurance, as you can see here on the drug test. He's already starting to test positive. Okay.
And that's in 2 minutes.
Within 2 minutes.
So driving whilst disqualifying.
Yeah.
His son's in the car.
2 kids in the car.
And tested for cocaine.
Yep. We tested cocaine and cannabis at the roadside.
Yeah.
Testing positive.
Yeah? I'm on my fucking life, I'm telling you now,
Chris,
we're going to have it in here, bruv, yeah?
we're not going to have it in here, are we?
Fucking want to bet me,
Okay.
son?
So,
Do you want to bet me?
Listen to me.
Do you want to fucking bet me?
Be calm with me, all right? Otherwise, it's going to get very messy, isn't
It'll
it?
get messy for you too, son, not just me.
Yeah, it's about to kick off in there, and he's fucking angry. I'm going to jail. I'm going to prison.
Yeah, sorry.
The most important thing for me, those young boys are safe, and they're out of that car.
As the man is taken away to the station, Dave and I head back out on patrol. And it's not long before we spot another erratic driver.
2765 vehicle check, please, Older Road.
What do you think?
Driver here, he was at the junction. He looks a bit dishevelled in his appearance.
There's a removed or vehicle using card.
Yeah. Where have you come from today?
I've just come from home.
And where are you off to?
To go and pick my son up.
Are you?
Yeah.
Essentially, your pupils are quite constrict. Okay. When was the last time you used any sort of drugs at all?
A while back.
Be true for me, when was the last time?
Sunday.
Sunday, and what did you use on Sunday?
Cocaine.
Cocaine.
Yeah.
You said you used coke on Sunday?
Yeah.
How much?
Not a lot. Half grand.
Did you drive after that?
No.
So, just poke your tongue out for me. We go 1, 2, 3.
Why did you use cocaine?
Why? Confidence. I've had problems in the past, relationship breakdowns, stuff like that. And you know, it just gives me a buzz, really. I enjoy the buzz.
Matthew, I'll be true with you.
Yeah.
At the time, you're already starting to test positive for cocaine.
Yeah.
One of these drug wipe kits, all right?
Yeah. Well, if I make a quick phone call.
Not at the moment, do we can sort that out in a minute, all right?
Son up on
Yeah. How old's your son?
6.
6. So you're on your way to go pick him up, are you?
Oh, Matthew, that means if you picked up your son, he's in the car.
I honestly didn't know it'd still be in my system, to be honest with you.
Matthew, at this moment in time, you're under arrest. So I do have to caution you, if you do have to say anything. There may have offence to mention. One question, some of which you later rely on court. Anything you do say, may be evidence.
Matthew, get help, please.
Yeah. Okay. Follow me this way.
Ultimately, Matthew didn't have enough coke in his system to prosecute. But in just over 3 hours in Bournemouth on a random Thursday afternoon, I've witnessed 2 men nicked for drug driving, both of them on the school run.
I'm shocked and nervous, the fact that it's that prevalent. It is everywhere, broad daylight. I think it's the tip of the iceberg because it's clearly going on a lot more than we know.
In the UK over the past 20 years, Cocaine use has gone up 400%, and coke-related deaths have increased 4 years in a row, to stand at an all-time high. At the forefront of stopping this deadly drug getting into the country and onto Britain's streets are the NCA, the closest thing we have to the FBI.
I'm going to meet one of the senior officers at the National Crime Agency, Tony Saggers, and he's going to give us an insight to what's coming in, where it's coming from, and what has he done to slow this down. How are you?
Yeah, good. Tony Saggers.
Thanks for your time this morning.
As head of drugs intelligence, Tony has dedicated his 30-year career to fighting a war against drugs, and is disturbed by the rising use of cocaine.
The cocaine trade is without doubt the biggest problem within the drugs industry. The demand for cocaine in the UK, I would say, is at a high, if not an all-time high. Gun crime in the UK is very closely associated to our drugs trade. People are making a lot of money out of it, but to make that money, people are generating a lot of misery.
It's almost like epidemic. It's everywhere. How much have you stopped in the last 3 years, for instance?
So in terms of our collaboration with colleagues in Europe, Caribbean, Latin America, we're stopping about 60 tonnes a year. Are we stopping the problem? No, we're not. Are we locking some really bad people up, taking away their revenue? Yes, we are. And I think you have to look at it that way.
Yeah.
But the reality is this country demands high volumes of coke. Organised criminals take advantage of that.
But it's become accepted, Tony.
I think what that demonstrates, though, Gordon, is the public's attitude towards cocaine. It's a part of society. Gangs on streets, brothels, young people with guns. You've just funded that, and that's what annoys me. So rather than it actually being abhorrent within society, which it should be, you know, people sit in restaurants, have the conversations that you and I might have at home about a sweatshop somewhere being used by a high street brand, exploiting children as slave workers, and then go and snort cocaine in toilets.
Yep.
They've just subscribed to the very thing they find abhorrent.
It's great to see how passionate Tony is, but you can feel that level of frustration because there is so much work to be done. And his gripe is the fact that, you know, you think it's cool, it's the opposite to cool. And the more you take, the harder my job is. The harder my job is, the less grip we've got on this problem.
Tony and his team are in a seemingly never-ending struggle to gain control of this issue. They're up against organised criminal gangs, many of them from overseas, who control a £3.7 billion UK drugs business. The NCA are tasked with tracking, intercepting and seizing the vast quantities of coke trafficked into Britain from abroad, and the huge amounts of money used to buy and sell the drug.
Tony set me up with the rapid response unit that rely on incredible intelligence to sort of bust big drug deals and the cash that goes with it. And it's pretty obvious I don't fuck around because I've been given minutes notice to get my ass down to the station. Cheers.
John Nolan is one of the most experienced officers working with the NCA. But there's no time to hang about. John and his team must act immediately. They have intelligence of a drug deal.
IC4 man wearing a grey jacket, grey jeans, blue shirt.
Right, we're responding to intelligence of a handover, which is going to happen in northwest London.
And it's going to be a handover of drugs or cash?
We don't know what the commodity is. Often we don't know what it is until we stop them. The drugs and the cash can look very similar. They can be packaged in the same way. They can be cellophane wrapped. Right. The handovers can effectively be very quick.
John's covert team have seen a suspicious man leave an address they had under surveillance.
Units, move up, move up, move up.
It's vital they arrest him before a handover of drugs or cash takes place.
Here he is here. This trapper's got him on the left. See this bloke here? There's the bag.
There's the bag. Right, do you guys want to get out? I'm arresting you on suspicion of money laundering. Do you understand? You didn't have to say anything.
Covert officers have detained a man carrying a suspect-looking bag.
Okay, how much money's in there? I don't know.
There you go.
Their suspicions have paid off. The man is Albanian and the bag contains tens of thousands of pounds of cash used to buy and sell cocaine.
You're not messing around there, that's big.
Yeah. If he's a runner, if he's an Albanian runner, then he's come into the country. He may not be here too long. He'll live in poor conditions and he'll be exploited like everyone through the drug trade, really.
No sooner has the suspect been handcuffed Then John and his team hear about a potentially bigger deal at an address across town, in one of London's most exclusive neighbourhoods.
No deviation. Keep your breath clear if you go straight off where you are.
As we arrive at the address, officers are keeping their eyes peeled for anything or anyone who seems suspicious.
5-4, go with it, go with it.
The officers take a gamble and follow a taxi seen driving away from the address they had identified.
Keep visual on the Mercedes, please.
Mercedes is off, so I'll have to be shaken up for a near side. Westbound 840.
We're into the underpass, underneath the car park, passing a near side turn. There's no deviation, no deviation. Right, he's out. He's with a bag. Strike, strike, strike.
The team quickly arrests the passenger of the taxi after he attempts to flee the scene.
I've got him, I've got him. Have you got anything else on you should have? Yeah, because I'm going to search you.
Yeah,
I'm going to make sure you haven't got any weapons or anything like that.
You can search. I have just my phone.
Okay.
It's extraordinary. Another massive bundle of cash.
Yeah.
I mean, that's two within 60 minutes.
We probably clean up about 120, 130,000 pounds in the space of 2 arrests.
Shit. He's Albanian. He's using a cab driver.
Yes.
Something spooked the person inside, and he was just told to drive on.
Yes. Yeah.
And you had no idea he had the cash.
No idea. No idea. So, and sometimes actually you have to make your own luck.
Yeah.
Went with it, and fingers crossed it's the right vehicle.
We're talking about £1 million a week just on your watch alone, if every afternoon is prolific as this.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, absolutely. It's all. He's here to make money.
This arrested man is merely a foot soldier. However, the team tell me Albanian crime gangs currently dominate the UK cocaine trade because of their willingness to use extreme violence.
We're dealing with hundreds of thousands of pounds of cash just being delivered in party bags. Cocaine coming in, money going out to Albania, and it's rife.
In 2016 alone, British Police and Border Force seized a staggering 4 tons of cocaine. That's more than at any time in the last decade. Despite this increased police activity, the UK is still the biggest user in Europe. And with the strength of the drug increasing, coke deaths in Britain are up 16% in the last year alone. So the authorities are working hard to stop this stuff going onto our streets.
Last night, 30 kilos of cocaine was seized by the police. And I'm on my way to a lab at a secret location where it's going to be tested. And this will be a great opportunity to get my head around the size of this problem. 30 fucking kilos just last night. Morning.
Hi, good morning, Gordon.
How are you?
Peter, fine.
I'm here to meet Peter Kane, who has been a drug scientist for 3 decades.
When I started, we were a team of about 8 people, and we're now a team of 70.
This secure lab is where 70% of the drugs in Britain are tested after seizure.
Morning.
So this is a case that's just come in.
So 30 kilos from one raid?
Yes, yeah.
Wow. That's a big siege, Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah, when I spoke with the officer, they said it was seized about midnight, so we've got a bit of time on it, but it is an urgent, and we do need to turn it around and get the result out as soon as possible.
Yeah, 30 kilos just arrives like that in the morning. For me, I'm in shock. And how many cases do you deal with a week?
Just as an example, last year in this laboratory, we examined 1.25 tonnes.
Can we open one or not?
Yeah, that's fine.
Is it okay? Do you mind just having a look at one?
Yeah, sure.
Peter and his team are looking for hallmarks, which may give a clue to where this cocaine's been processed.
I mean, it's just wrapped so tight, like a book. I mean, compressed to a solid mass. Are we allowed to get inside there?
Yeah, I think we can open one up. Yeah,
please.
So you can see coming through there's a little bit of green, which is probably some green rubber.
Quite often in the Caribbean, they'll drop these into the sea to be picked up by small boats.
And that's the cocaine there.
Yeah.
My goodness me, look how packed that is.
Yeah, we can probably just lift it out.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah.
Incredible.
These little holes are actually from where it's produced in the laboratories in South America. They use presses to get the excess solvent out.
That's incredible. And the value of this, I mean, this is a kilo.
Wholesale, probably about £35,000. And when it gets to the street, you probably times that by about 3.
Yeah.
So about 100 grand.
That's incredible. I mean, I'm amazed at the volume we've got here.
If this haul were to be sold to the customer here in Britain, it would be worth an incredible £3 million.
What surprised you over the last 10 years on how they smuggle coke?
It's the ingenuity that does change.
Peter wants to give me a taste of some of the remarkably creative ways coke is smuggled into the country.
Show you these bottles of rum. One of them is a genuine bottle of golden rum. The other one actually contains 1/4 kilogram of cocaine hydrochloride.
1/4 kilogram?
Yeah. Cocaine is very soluble. You can actually dissolve 2 grams in 1 millilitre of water. This was a smuggling technique that is used from time to time. Easy way to check it is you just weigh the bottles and you actually find one is extremely heavy compared to the other.
Is it really?
If you were to drink 1 mouthful of that, you'd die.
Really?
A 25ml shot probably contains about 8 grams of cocaine.
How would you get the cocaine back into powder form from that?
Literally just put it on something like a baking sheet and just gently warm it so you're evaporating off the liquid.
Are you surprised at the prolificness of the business now in terms of the billions of pounds this generates globally?
The thing is, it is a business and that's it. And they do use proper business tactics when they're selling it, etc.
I want to get all this coke off my hands now.
Yeah.
Because the next time I go to an airport, I'm going to shit myself. To be in there, that up close and personal, all that coke, it's scary. For him, it's normal. You know, he sees bags of that stuff on a weekly basis and millions of pounds tested per year. But for me, you know, I'm lost for words. It's spiraling out of control. It's part of the going out fashion. It's all over my restaurants. It's even in the staff toilets. How's so much coming in?
Well, you've got to look at I mean, the UK, we're an island nation.
Sure.
It's almost a 360-degree target for international trafficking.
We're that vulnerable?
Yeah, well, that we are. You've got production here in Colombia, Peru and Bolivia. So there's a chain of countries where most of the cocaine is produced in. You've got this Latin American coastline which enters the Caribbean Sea. That's really important. We see as a gateway. So people selling yachts, transatlantic, into the UK, smuggling coke. Countries that get exploited through this, Panama, Nicaragua, Honduras. These are the places where bad things happen. Swallower couriers from Latin America and the Caribbean. Got a photograph I'll show you. It's horrible viewing, but it's necessary to really understand the human exploitation. This individual has swallowed cocaine pellets down through the throat, and it's basically filled the entire human cavity.
So they'd swallow these prior to jumping on board the plane?
Yeah, so basically 24 hours or so before the flight, these individuals will start swallowing.
Christ almighty.
That person had about 2 kilos inside their body, so that's over 120 pellets. That is going to pass through the intestine. It's going to come out the way that all food comes out, and someone's going to sit and pick the layers off that. And then, in your restaurant, someone else is going to snort it as a glamorous drug, and there's nothing glamorous about that picture.
God.
I've interviewed people in Lagos airport, literally, who can touch the last pellet. It's that close to their throat opening.
That was an incredible insight. I think the big shock for me is how exposed we are as a country and the amount of avenues that these smugglers and dealers and cartels are using to bring cocaine into the country. It's coming in from everywhere. That's the problem.
With so many smuggling routes and techniques, it's no wonder cocaine is flooding our towns and cities. 80% of the coke that ends up on Britain's streets comes from just one country, and the amount they are producing has surged dramatically, rising to levels unseen for 20 years.
So I'm heading to the source, Colombia, the biggest producer of cocaine anywhere in the world. But what I'm desperate to understand is, what is Colombia trying to do to bring a halt to this multi-billion-pound industry?
After a 15-hour journey, I'm touching down close to the border with Ecuador. I've come here to see the very beginning of the process and to understand how this seemingly unstoppable industry dominates Colombia and feeds the appetite in Britain and the rest of the world. right at one of the most southern tips of Colombia. This is on the tip of the Amazon jungle, so, man, we are remote. First time in South America for me. We're in the arse end of nowhere, Villa Gazon. Colombia has now regained its crown and its status as the #1 producer of cocaine anywhere in the world. Year on year, over the last 2 years, it's gone up 40%. That's now responsible for close to producing over 650 tons of cocaine. That's a £40 billion industry just from this country. The Colombian government's battle to stop cocaine is big news here. You can't read a newspaper or switch on the TV without a drug gang killing or a massive cocaine seizure. To understand the war on drugs properly, I have to come to the heartbeat of where it starts and to see how this shit's produced. I'm beginning by heading deep into the jungle to meet someone who risks everything to produce cocaine. Any professional chef worth his salt goes to the source, so I want to know what goes into this drug. I'm attempting to reach one of the small-scale farmers who grows, processes, and cooks the coca plant, which is then turned into coke. I'm on my way into the jungle to meet this farmer, stroke chef. Now, this guy is basically harvesting the coca plant, but in hiding. And we are going in. I mean, we are in the depth, in the middle of nowhere. It's slightly edgy because last night, first thing this morning, you can hear the local military police helicopters scouting the area. So this is a high risk for this farmer. For me, why would you put yourself at risk? Why would you put yourself out there with your family at risk? Because getting caught here, the consequences are massive. Now, this farmer stroke chef is one individual of 1 million workforce that are now behind the cocaine industry in Colombia. 1 million people are now producing or involved in cocaine in a country that has 50 million people. I mean, it's just pretty extraordinary. What is this fucking thing coming here? Morning. I've travelled along this dirt road for over an hour. Just reaching the village is an ordeal. So this is a river crossing. The bridge is broke. I'm just going to go down and see if we can get across. That's fine. That's not too bad. So the bridge is fucked. There's no way of going over that bridge there, because that's not going to take... That won't even take my weight, let alone the car. Oh, shit. Shit. Thank God for that. I finally reached the farmer's village. However, to keep things discreet, I've agreed to meet him at his plantation, which is a further hour-and-a-half's walk deep into the rainforest. You can see what I mean now about being off the beaten track. Also, we're now literally heading straight into that big, deep, dense mass of jungle. I have no idea what I'm about to face, but I hope to find the farmer and the answer to at least some of my questions. I've now journeyed for 3 hours into the remote Colombian rainforest. I'm here to meet a farmer who is one of 1 million people in the country who work in the cocaine industry. He takes huge risks to both grow the coca plant and extract the drug from the leaf. This is seriously hard-going terrain. But at last I've found what I'm looking for. This is it. Fuck me. I mean, it's somewhat spread out, but this is it. Finally. This is the coca leaf. This is the start of the process of making cocaine. Now, you can eat these leaves. You know, tribes were using this for altitude sickness. Who would have thought such a soft, smooth leaf can turn into something so powerful? Hola, Jose.
Buenos días.
Gracias. Good to see you.
Bien, bien.
Coca leaves contain less than 1% cocaine, so the farmer has to pick around 500 kilos of the plant to make just 1 kilo of the drug.
Jose, are you ever worried that you're going to get raided?
Claro, nosotros tenemos que estar esto con mucho miedo porque las autoridades persiguen mucho esto por lo ilícito. Yo soy padre de 4 hijos.
And do you not worry because you have such a young family? What would the family do if you were to get busted?
Pues yo le temo, ¿no? Porque para mí es muy difícil dejar mis hijos abandonados, ¿no? Pero...
Like Jose, I have 4 children. I can imagine the responsibility to provide for them weighs heavily upon him.
Pues si no tenemos otras oportunidades aquí en Colombia, porque para uno pegarse de otra cosa, porque estas son tierras muy buenas para la agricultura, el plátano, el maíz, la yuca, pero entonces nosotros para cultivar ese producto, para sacarlo al pueblo a venderlo, son muy costosos los pasajes. Como ustedes se dan cuenta de las carreteras, que no tenemos puentes, las carreteras son muy malas, es muy duro para sostenernos de la agricultura.
Do you have any idea outside of this jungle of the devastation of what this is causing?
No, yo no tengo conocimiento porque yo solamente la cultivo, la proceso, saco la droga, la vendo.
The government have given up on the locals. They've made it more difficult for them to survive. You can't harvest fruit. There's nowhere near enough money to keep that family alive. So the guy's got an alternative. That's not an excuse. He's just talking from the heart in a way that this is it. He needs to get this done to get his kids through school, to get the fuck out of there. The devastation of being caught and what happened to the family would be awful. They'd be kicked out of the house, kicked out of the village, and sadly, the whole family would be ripped apart. You've got this humble farmer. He's got no idea of the war, the violence, the killings, and then, you know, the power of cocaine. He's got no idea.
In order to earn his $40 a week, or roughly £30, Jose has to produce cocaine paste, which he sells to the drug cartels. His lab, where it's produced, is another 45 minutes walk, hidden deep in the undergrowth. If it's busted, he faces a 20-year jail term.
I mean, there's no wonder these little labs don't get busted because we are going even deeper than I could ever imagined. This is more remote than I've ever been. The lab, finally. Jesus Christ. No wonder you can't fucking find this place.
Now I've reached the lab, I'm about to find out just what goes into making this destructive drug.
Bloody hell. What a fucking journey.
Jose must extract the cocaine from the plant. A complicated process which involves many chemicals. First, he adds cement to the chopped up coca leaves.
He's measuring out to the cup. Cement powder. I mean, this takes squashing grapes for me to a whole new fucking level. Almost like finishing a fucking souffle with fresh icing powder. Wow.
12:24.
After Jose finishes mixing in the cement, the next delightful ingredient is added. Sulfuric acid, dissolved in water.
My eyes are burning.
¿Ah?
My eyes are burning.
Lo hace llorosear.
When you see the bright white of that finished product, everyone thinks it looks classy, sophisticated, then they boast and show off to their mates. The arrogance of taking it. I just love to bring them here right now and show them the shit that goes on. I'm appalled at what goes into it. I mean, the cement was hard enough, but the sulfuric acid.
This mixture is put into a barrel and doused in gasoline. This is then left to marinate to draw the cocaine from the leaf.
It's like something out of fucking Harry Potter. Does he know who Harry Potter is?
¿Tú sabes quién es Harry Potter?
No.
No. Thank fuck for that. The fumes and the smell coming off that is extraordinary.
Muy bueno usted para el raspe. Nos rindió harto.
He sounds happy. Is he high?
Jose needs to separate the cocaine from the gasoline, using the next shocking addition to the mixture, battery acid.
200 centímetros de ácido.
You okay?
That battery acid has helped separate the cocaine liquid from the gasoline. So basically the density is like all in water. On top is the gasoline, and underneath 10% of that water is the cocaine water, pure cocaine water, which is going to siphon out from the bottom now. This hose goes all the way down the bottom there. He's sucking it through, and then he's going to sieve that through the final process.
Mira, aquí estoy sacando el agua de ácido.
See, so that's the clear, pure cocaine water at the bottom of this barrel. Very strong, very acidic, very bitter, very, very, very strong. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Fuck me. Next, in goes bicarbonate of soda, which helps to get rid of the excess gasoline and battery acid. It's giving it a bit of a white colour. Look at that now. Once the mixture is dried, it starts to resemble cocaine for the first time. But there's still more work to do. We have to walk 1 hour back to the village for the next extraordinary stage of the process. And certainly the most risky for him. He needs to gently cook the mixture to take out more of the impurities. All that, picking, gathering, and everything that he's worked hard for, down to this little cupful of liquid cocaine. I mean, crazy. So he's brought it up to the boil, and now he's skimming the top again to make it even purer. So it's like, almost like a sort of toxic scum that's come off the powder. And the actual liquid cocaine looks so much more clear now. It's like this syrup, like a treacle. Almost like you're tempering it, like you're tempering chocolate. Jose spreads the liquid onto a tray and allows it to dry. Wow. It's this paste that is bought by the cartels who control the drug trade. Ultimately, they'll turn it into cocaine hydrochloride after adding a few other chemicals to make it consumable. Jesus. Wow. From when we started first thing this morning with that huge vat of leaves to this tiny bag. That's incredible. Jose will receive about £30 a week. This bag of paste will be worth roughly £5,000 on the streets of Britain. I've cooked some serious shit in my life and been to some extraordinary places, but nothing quite on this level. That guy is living on a knife edge. But the sad news is, if he's caught with that bag of paste at the end, that's 20 years banged up. 20 fucking years for that. The guy earns $150 a month. The saddest news today was the fact that the government are giving up on them. They're not repairing bridges, they're not giving them any sort of funding, and so these guys have got no option but to work their arse off locally and produce that cocaine paste to stay alive. That's the sad news. Jose is just one farmer struggling to make a living for his family. Most of the industry is controlled by the cartels. They are powerful criminal gangs causing misery and death and responsible for bringing this drug to the UK. Next time, I'll be on the front line with the Colombian military taking the fight to these drug lords. I can't believe the amounts as in here. It's everywhere. Shit. What's going on? Come face to face with those that kill for coke. How many people do you think you've murdered?
Un promedio, póngale como unos 80, 110.
And see how our police back home are dealing with increasing levels of crime and violence caused by cocaine.
We see extraordinary levels of gang crime, shootings and stabbings, all of which are linked to the cocaine trade.
If you've been affected by the issues in this programme, visit itv.com/advice for details of organisations that may be able to provide support and advice. And Gordon Ramsay on Cocaine continues next Thursday at 9.